And live, hello everybody. Live here for Late Night Baltimore, live streaming. Oh, it's a Christmas time and it's a difficult time for a lot of people. A lot of people lonely out there, sad. Families breaking apart, betrayals in family. Uh, Maybe at the work, you're having troubles. Maybe you're out in the street in the cold. Maybe you don't have a place to go. Maybe you're despondent and lonely. Uh, at the end of your rope, as they say, thinking about doing something to yourself, checking out. Well, I got some few ideas. The first thing I would recommend in these lonely, dark times is to try to find. I know it seems hypocritical because I drink on this show and such, but I would try to suggest that go to a recovery group because they can really give you support. Uh, they're it's spiritual, but it's no religious things you have to worry about, and they accept you.
And it's also you don't have to speak if you don't.
Yeah, you can just listen, and everybody there will care about you. I mean, this is just one thing you can do. And there's some other things here I was looking up for people. You hear a lot of this stuff, so I wanted to talk about some of the stuff we hear. In the day to day, when you're despondent, these things don't mean much, but they can help in the long run. Things like meditate, try to find a quiet place, sit, and it's not a complicated process or some, you know, ancient ritual. It's really just sitting in the quiet and paying attention to your breathing and let the thoughts accept the thoughts that come in your head. It's very important to remember that it's almost impossible to subtract thoughts or divide thoughts, but you can multiply your thoughts and you can add thoughts. But when you're sitting meditating, just be open to whatever thoughts come in. And, 10 to 15 minutes a day, every day, it seems to really help people. Um, it's like you're listening to the universe. Also, if you're going way down, one way that a lot of people have turned their lives around, and this is another thing I'm also trying to work on, is that they make a big turnaround in their physicality. They like decide to get in great shape or change their way. Like Rocky. That's one of the greatest examples of a person. He changed his life by just throwing himself completely into getting into his physicality, his strength, and his health. And you have to have health. If you don't have health, you got to keep in mind that you're going to be depressed. You have to still maintain as best you can of a good diet. Go anywhere you can. Do it even if you have to go to a soup kitchen or a church or something. Do what you can to stay stay with energy from food and be hydrated. Okay, and then also there's other things like breathing exercises. You can look all this up on YouTube and breathing exercises. Breathing in on 2 counts, letting out on 4. Also, there's some family members that maybe will talk to you or you can reach out to. You don't want to isolate yourself. That happens. this time of year. You get lost in your thoughts. Everybody is okay to have awareness of what people think about them, but you just can't allow it to just be the deciding factor. You just really, I mean, if you find that you are around the people who don't care about you, you just really just gotta say fuck them. You got to go live your life. The important thing also is you'll see a lot of people you know, people maybe at work or people you went to school with. If you get on these social medias, you'll see they're trying to present their life in a certain way, and it's as fake as anything else on the internet. That gets people depressed around this time of year because they see families getting together that look like everything's so perfect. Well, first of all, that ain't got nothing to do with you. And second of all, it's usually a huge, just a facade, an act, like theater. So don't isolate yourself. Don't um, don't lose track of like your daily routines of hygiene and eating and trying to sleep, which is it's extremely important if you're anxious. It's extremely difficult to do things like sleeping. Try to get today you can't really. It's very difficult to get counseling kind of help that's good because everybody after COVID wants you to just zoom in, and that kind of removes the humanity about it of it. So, but find someone to talk to. There's a million people, or there's 500,000 people in this city, and there's a lot of people who are at the standby to help you in these times. Um, so the other thing, a lot of words that go around nowadays is mindfulness. It's just it's trying to take in everything, being aware of everything that's going on around you that you're interpreting to yourself through your senses. Like, what are you hearing? Focus on what you're hearing in the moment. Uh, Really, these like 5 seconds of consciousness that go by, that's all we really experience. And by just standing still in the moment and thinking about what you're hearing, what thoughts you're having, how you feel inside, what you hear, what you smell, if you have any taste, all your senses, how you're thinking, and your breathing. So it's a living in the moment and just accepting. You don't have to accept anything, but you just have to start from where you are. That's an important thing. Starting from where you are, serenity prayer of the wisdom to know the difference between the things you can change. Well, the truth is, there's a great deal more you can change than you first. If your perspective being depressed and lonely and sad, there's a lot more you can do that you just don't see. So they're really trying to get at other perspectives. Um, so look into mindfulness. You can get a lot of this stuff on YouTube. Body scan meditations, sitting meditations, walking meditations. Um, so these simple mindfulness things, they help you in every day. How they help when you're in crisis for trauma, or you're having some flashbacks towards trauma, or trauma is a big part of your life, then you need to be trying to do things like call crisis hotlines, and um, these helplines and get yourself connected into some kind of support system. You can't allow yourself to just suffer through this kind of stuff. Uh, a lot of things like this, it's very scary to think about, and a lot of people think that they just don't have the courage to do things. Well, one way I think works is that if you try either, I don't know, try to change your go out socially, or try to make changes in your life and you have a great deal of fear, well, just each day think if you could do it just a little, even just a second more each day, and push the boundaries a little bit. You'd be shocked at what you can do. The other thing, we live in kind of a difficult city to live in. A lot of stress in this city. Crime, drugs, poverty, a lot of dangerous people out there.
Oh yeah, it's if you need information on services and counseling and things and getting help, I think you can dial 211 and then that will get you connected to.
Yeah, that's a start. And especially now, everybody's aware that these holidays are a time of where you relive bad trauma, or you compare your life, and everybody's supposed to be happy, and maybe you don't have the same kind of family that other people have, and it can be a dark time, and there's people out there to help. As far as the city and the danger of it, the thing is to be prepared in your mind. Be always prepared for things that might happen. Like, what will you do if this sort of trouble comes to you? How will you respond? What do you think you do to be safe? And that's the important thing. You want to stay safe. You want to keep yourself safe, and you want to keep yourself not just from the outside exterior, but from yourself, and the falling into the deep depression or anxiety and the stress of it all, and the loneliness and all this. There's other things. There's a book by Viktor Frankl. I always tell people about this book. Everybody knows about it. It's Man's Search for Meaning. He's a psychiatrist who lived through concentration camps, I believe Auschwitz. And so he found that no matter what happens to him, there is that gap, even in those kind of unbelievable circumstances, where he has still the power, unless some kind of physical thing is done to him, to choose a response. And you have your mind and your consciousness, and that's where you can decide to exist. That can't be taken away from you, unless it is actually taken away from, physically. But in these kind of times, you got to remember you have to decide how you're going to interpret what happens, and you're going to have to decide how you're going to communicate it to yourself internally. Those are all the kind of cliches that's easy to say, but if you have experienced these kind of moments, you know that there's something to it. You have to.
But also, I know I've been through trauma that a survivor is always stronger than an aggressor.
Yeah, you have to remember, you can't control what someone does to you. You can't control outside events. You can't control what people say. So And those kind of things is it's another thing that it's easy to say, hard to do, but you have to just say you have to see what you're going to do and how you're going to handle it, what you decide. And the most important thing is you don't lose, no matter how dark the times get, don't lose your humanity, because that's what keeps us. Don't lose your idea of a spiritual presence and a moral compass and how intrinsic living with by principles are, and how really the most important thing you can do is have is compassion is the most important qualities. And you can't lose your moral compass even if you get in these dark times and get tempted. There's a lot of stuff they teach in or they talk about in these kind of recovery groups. I know it's hypocritical for me with this, but it's just a good advice to go to the even if you do not have chemical problems, you can in your mind you can say where they are saying addiction or drinking, you will just talk maybe experience with trauma or experience with depression, anxiety. So don't lose faith in the aspect of a spiritual plane and a spiritual answers. Really, that's where it all is going to come from in the end. That's what's going to really make the way you can make the greatest change, the greatest recovery, the greatest ability to deal with um, trauma is connecting to your whatever your spiritual thoughts are, beliefs, or the God of your understanding, I guess is the way they say it. Um, Another thing people talk about is gratitude. Have gratitude, they say. Have gratitude. Well, if you're like walking homeless in a dangerous part of Baltimore and you have no family or friends and you're sleeping under the Hanover Bridge, it's really hard to think that you have gratitude. But the importance of thinking about things you're about gratitude is think about what you actually are grateful for, even if it's something stupid, even if it's smoking a cigarette or uh, I don't know, anything. Seeing a pretty girl on the street, looking at the sunset. Just make sure it really makes you feel grateful. Don't think of something like, oh, I'm grateful. Yeah, everybody knows you're grateful for your kids or something. Think about something that when you think about it, you really feel, wow, I really, that is something that I'm like, I feel great about that I have. Um, so that helps. And also, let's see, most important thing is you got to stay safe and you got to take care of yourself. But safety is the most important thing. You can't do anything if you're doing something to yourself, or if you're doing, or if you're allowing, if you're going through an experience where someone is doing something to you. So those are the things we can't accept. You can't accept mistreating yourself, and you have to think about the way you treat yourself. Would you allow and how you allow people to treat you? If you saw this happening to someone, and someone else was doing it to someone, how would you feel? Would you feel this is okay? No, you wouldn't. You would, if you could, you would probably defend the person. And so you got to think, why then do you allow it to happen to you? yourself. You got to think about it like that. That helps. Well, I believe I may have gone on too long. Fez, you have any words for the folks out there, the fine folks?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, um, whatever you're celebrating. Stay safe, and remember,
Try to take care of yourself and others.
an important thing to remember if you're thinking about your life and you're thinking about you've wasted your life or it's too late to do something. The greatest story about this is a man who had lived his life where he did do wrong. He sought redemption, and in a final moments, and maybe what would be in real time, 3 minutes, he completely changed. He completely redeemed himself, and it was, and he had that little time to live. It was in his last moments. So the story I'm talking about is when Jesus was on the cross, and there were three people on Calvary being crucified, and one said, "Well, why don't you use your powers to just get us down or come down?" And the other person who was at death's door was saying, you know, don't, don't tempt, don't disrespect this person. Don't. What did he say? Fez, exactly.
It was that that they were being, they were paying for their crimes, and this is an innocent man that was
Yeah, that's it.
being
So in those
suffering, and that he asked that he remember him.
So in those, yeah. So nobody really knows how old the person was, but in those last moments of his life, he had redeemed himself. He had found his heart. He had found himself. He had found his moral center again.
Jesus said that you will be with me in heaven this day.
Yeah. So keep in mind that story if you think you've wasted or it's too late or you can't do anything, because in those final moments, that person probably did some of the most important things anyone has ever done. Also, there's fun times around the city. Try to have some fun, whatever it is. Go see a movie if you can. Watch movies on TV. And don't forget now, there is one caveat in this time of year. Football. There's more football. There's football every day. You'll have football, pro football. All the games now really count. The Ravens are going to be playing the 49ers. That's going to be interesting because I think the Ravens are going to play it close to the vest because they know they have an idea that they'll probably meet again, and they don't want to get anyone hurt out there. Miami's playing Dallas, right?
Yes.
And that's an interesting game because both those teams are fighting the narrative that they are only feasting on weak teams. It's in Miami. I see Miami winning that game. But it should be entertaining. It's going to be fun. So, hey, football's broadcast on all the channels. So take advantage of a nice football game is a good way to, get your thoughts together while you can enjoy the game. And that's good. Okay, well, I think I've been on my soapbox long enough. Get this nice fireplace going. Think of the little things in life, like a tasty Coke. Those kind of little things. Those are all the things you enjoy, while things that don't really matter, you're waiting for. Okay, that's all for today. We'll get back to the sports. And remember, take care of yourself. Reach out and be safe for the holiday, for Christmas. But we'll be talking to you soon anyway, another episode. You want to say anything there, Fez?
Thank you for watching us and our subscribers and future subscribers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you to, we didn't want to say it on a regular show, but we'll say it. Thank you, Morgan Fairchild. That was pretty cool.
Yes.
That was awesome. All right. Okay, we out. Good night.